How's it going, folks? It's pre-intro Jack here, and well, the title of this video may have caught your eye because Dylan Turnbull, one of the fan favourites, what a player he is. Over the summer, he's come out as gay. Yeah, if you didn't know, this is an Easter egg of sorts. I don't think the Easter egg is the right word, but it's something that happens in Football Manager very, very rarely with regens, where they can come out as gay, and it doesn't change the gameplay at all. You get a bit of a commercial income. It's modelled around what could happen, Sports Interactive research, what might happen in the event that a professional footballer came out as gay. And it just so happens to have been one of our big hot prospects who's come out. So he's going to have his name in the spotlight. I'm now excited to see what he can achieve, to be honest, because I was already excited. It just adds another layer to his story. But yes, Dylan Turnbull, he's gay. I don't have a problem with it. Hopefully you don't either. We've got a season to start. Dylan. Let's see if you can do it in the Championship. Roll the intro. What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 80 of Park to Prem here with Town or Town. Today, it's the start of season number 10, our first year in the Championship. And, well, what do we have here? This is something that is becoming the familiar sight, I suppose. Smolio, he's not going anywhere. He's on loan at Towlaw for another year from Watford. We've got him for another season. I actually had to wait for him to go back to Watford this time before loaning him, but little bit of a downside this time. He is our highest earning player at the club. We are paying all of his wages. So, Watford, you are very welcome. And, well, thank you very much for letting us have him, because in what I'm sure is going to be a testing and challenging Championship season, he is considered the best goalkeeper in the league. So, the fact we've got him on loan again is obviously superb. He's homegrown at club. He's only got 2 years left on his contract now at Watford. I'm wondering if we could bring him back and sign him back without him ever playing a game for Watford and, well, never playing not for us. That's a problem / thing, I guess, for later on. I think if I go to bid for him now, it'll be a similar story to previously. Yeah, I don't have 60-odd million to pull out of my buttocks, unfortunately. Who knows? Maybe if we could get promoted, that could be what will happen. And, well, the fact I've started on Smolio might imply to you that we've not been particularly busy in the transfer market. And you know what? That would probably be a fairly fair reflection. When you look at the sums of money we were receiving in the last few years, and even the amount of money we spent in the last few years, this year, the total spend of 1.4 million, it feels a little tame in the grand scheme of things. Worth starting with the outs, I suppose, and a few of the French players leaving us to start things. Benny Nkololo has returned to France. A good player, but entering his mid to late 30s, I was going to say. No, not at all. He's 31. But in my eyes, as soon as you hit 31, too old. Get out the club. No, not quite, but I don't know. He was a squad player, not really going to improve. We've got as good a younger players. It felt right to move him on. Dimitri Seyer has also returned to France. We made £2,000 profit, everyone. I would call that exceptional wheeling and dealing. But yeah, a player who's become a little bit surplus to requirements over the last couple of years. He has moved on. Club captain Leon Coyle also left us. At 28 years old, he was wanting a bit more first-team football. Last year, he played 3 matches in the league for us. Truth be told, it is spell at the club, whilst he has been one of the more senior players and a player with, reasonable leadership qualities. That's not really a good enough justification for him to hop up to the Championship with us. So we have cashed in on him at £64,000. It's some money at the end of the day for a player we brought in for nothing. Anyway, the last of the players we got rid of permanently is Jack Perdue. He has headed off back to Scotland. He was fine back up while he was here. He played 1 match in the entirety of last season. Again, we've made some money on a player we brought in for nothing, but it's not exactly significant losses. And while there has been a load of players go out on loan, the fact that we've not sold anyone of significance might also imply we've not really brought in anyone in massive significance either. And you know what? That would almost be a fairly fair reflection. I think this window is one of the first windows ever where I haven't really improved the team anywhere necessarily, other than, I guess, Smolio coming in. I did look at left-backs, but there just wasn't a good enough left-back, with the kind of money that we had available. In the end, the big transfers were actually a few younger players, and then one player who I'm quite a big fan of in FM, and I was surprised to see him available. So we'll start with the big prospect, I guess. Boubacar Diakite, or Diakite. possibly. Either way, exceptional player, very young. We talked about him last year, was one of a number of players we'd already agreed to sign. Great to see him join us, of course. Alex Blesser, the only non-regen player in the outfield positions, at least, that we have signed. A good player, though, at 26 years old, young player, can play centre mid, can also possibly play as a right midfielder, as that inverted winger, which we do use fairly frequently in our system. But yeah, a young player signed from Levante's B team for £400,000. He has some potential. I feel like he's a reasonable squad player. All things considering, wages might be a little high, but I don't know. We haven't gone crazy in the window here. You know, I've been quite sensible by my own admission. A few other players we brought in, Gianluca Tedone has joined us, an Italian prospect centre-back, 18 years old, has some quite nice physicals, very good defensively as well. Great positioning, great marking, great tackling. At 18, if he can just improve a little bit, he could end up being a very good player. Capped at Italy's under-19 level. We have got a number of Italian defenders, but yes, a good player, joined us for 275k. It's a sum of money, but I feel like it's reasonable, you know, value for money in terms of a prospect. Will Mannion has joined us as a second choice goalkeeper behind Smoljo. I was initially looking at him as an option to bring in with Smoljo perhaps not joining the club. If we just compare the two here, Will maybe a better shot stopper, but you know, Smoljo here just a better rounded specimen of a goalkeeper on the whole. But I feel like as a backup keeper, you know, 30 years old, English, homegrown in nation, I feel like on a free transfer, or just about a free transfer, 60k is nothing really. Good business for us. Anyway, a few youngsters I'm going to blitz through really quick. Inanji, I've never read his name aloud before. He looks okay, doesn't he? Italian prospect. We've got some Italian defenders. I'm thinking back to the 90s where Italian defenders were like just the best thing in the world. Maybe there's going to be a resurgence here. We'll have to wait and see. Ryan Bowley's joined us from Cardiff Met Uni. Good little striking option, capped at under 19 level for Wales. Keep an eye on him, he could develop into something special. Gerardo Bravo has also joined us, a good player, joined us from the Spanish third tier, 18 years old, professional personality. I actually think there's quite a lot to like about this guy. I'm excited to see how he will develop. Definitely one of those players who could be knocking on the door to enter the first team. I guess the only thing going against him is the fact that we are really, just burdened with very good strikers, although I feel like being burdened with good strikers isn't the worst problem in the world. Anyway, Subaron has joined us from Bournemouth. Really like this guy. He's naturally a right-back, but I actually see his long-term future at the centre-back position. I feel like he's really well suited to it. Free transfer, bit of squad depth, not massive wages either. Just a transfer that makes a lot of sense under the circumstances. Manuel Baggio has joined us as well. He's no longer nuclear. You might remember him having that weird Facebook. He's immediately gone out on loan to Accrington Stanley, but definitely one for the future. Another Italian. Our scouts have really been loving Italy recently. Adam Doherty joins us from Arsenal. He was not offered a senior contract, was going to be expiring from their youth team. One of the players who was really being bigged up by the media upon it being announced that he wouldn't be retained. I think he could be quite a good right back at 18 years old, loads of time to develop in the under-23s. We also have a few players who may feature in the first team this year. Eric, 18 years old, not the most flashy of names, but what a flashy player he is. Really good player, this guy. 18 years old. Agreed to sign him a while ago from Racing upon the expiry of his contract. That's happened. He's now joined us, having turned 18. One for the future. I feel like that's a recurring trend here, but there's just lots and lots of players to be excited about. And another player joining us from Racing, another wide player, and not a dissimilar player to Eric in many ways, is Oriol here, who I'd call Baby Eric. Maybe I should just nickname him Baby. You're Baby Eric now, because they are, for all intents and purposes, just very similar players, just slightly different, but from the same club, from the same youth intake generation as well, both 18 years old. Eric and Baby Eric. I've called him Baby Eric's. Let's get rid of the S. That's unnecessary. But either way, I think Eric is more likely to play in the first team this year. We're looking to maybe get a loan move for Baby Eric sorted, but for the future, certainly. You can see, just looking at the dates at which transfers were done, Smoljo here joined on the 7th of July, so he had actually returned to Watford at the end of the year before we were able to renew it. But with his addition in the team, I felt like we'd won in the transfer market, to be honest. That was the big worry, was the goalkeeper position. Mannion as a backup, I suppose, is good. But I know Smoljo, his fan club got a little bit thinned out over the course of last season, where he may have cost us points. I've got faith that he's going to be good for us this year. Anyway, to start the season, we're actually going to be taking on Oxford United, who we were promoted with. You can see here some of the pre-season friendlies that we had. I did play Brandon. People often ask me, Jack, what's happened to Brandon? They play in a league that are no longer loaded, so we don't get, fully fleshed out stuff for them. But we have played them for old time's sake. We beat them 14-0, Leighton Stewart with 5, and Matasevic with a hat-trick. So yeah, we're teaching him the Towlaw way early, Matasevic, and just teaching him what it's like to pummel Brandon. He'll get to do that for a few more years, I imagine, in pre-season friendlies. So yes, we're taking on Oxford today. As I said, a team promoted with us last year. They finished second in the league. They're a team who, for the longest time, you can see, just stuck languishing in League One, have finally found their way out of it. Predicted to finish rock bottom, so I'm hoping for a convincing win in truth to really state our intentions for this year. If you were wondering, the board expectations, you can see here, mid-table championship finish, FA Cup 4th round, and reach the 3rd round of the EFL Cup. Right now, on everything that we could be judged by after just a pre-season, they're very, very happy. Yes, we've been, abiding by our philosophies. We've not really had to sell on many players for profit because, well, financially we were in a good position from last year. Of course, if you watched the end of season livecom yesterday, you'll know that we have a new stadium on the way, new training facilities on the way. Both of those have been constructed without any additional funding needing to be sourced in the form of a loan or anything. So as a result, the bank balance, it has taken a hammering. It's dropped by 10 million in the space of a month. But do know that that is largely out of, the fact that we are just upgrading the facilities massively. And as you can see here, we're due to move into our own stadium, well, hopefully for the start of next season, although we'll have to wait and see. So for one last time this year, we're going to be at the Gateshead International Stadium. Savour it all, but yeah, a stadium that, if I'm not mistaken, is a 25-minute drive from Towlaw. I'm looking forward to being home very, very soon. So anyway, I've discussed the fact that we've not really signed anyone new, but that doesn't mean there's not been shifting of sands within the first team. We have started to move things around, and, players have been promoted and pushed into the limelight. I'm really excited, I'm really happy to say that going into this first game of the season, 5 of the starting 11 are homegrown at club, which, when you consider the rate at which we've risen through the leagues, is a monumental achievement. So let's talk about the team for today's game, and this is what I consider our strongest 11. Vasily Ignatovic has a small injury, but other than him, we're almost at full strength. Jacobs, unfortunately, out injured, but I wouldn't consider him, in the starting match squad anyway. So anyway, in goal, it's Smoljo. I'm not going to explain anything more because I don't think it's needed, but worth noting, he has started to start regularly for the Croatian national team. 4 international caps to his name, 2 more added over the summer. Very good there. Out at left back, this was a position I did look to improve, but I just couldn't identify a target I felt was a massive upgrade on Ray's here. So we're going to stick with Ray's. He's got incredible physicals, like really good speed, really good physical ability. He's going to get up and down the pitch well. I'm hoping what he lacks in just general technique, he can make up for in just his reasonable mentals, but his exceptional physicals. I might still look for a left back. We've got a month until the transfer window closes, so there is time. But at least to start the season, he is our starting left back. In the centre back positions, it's the partnership from last year. It's Ronnie Williamson playing alongside club captain. Yes, I've said club captain there. Lino Hugo, who of course is going now into his 3rd season at the club at 25 years old. You'd consider that maybe a younger player, but within our squad, that makes him one of the more experienced players. Very, very good mentals, of course. Good leadership, great determination. I think he's a good championship defender. If we just look here, he's a decent player, at least in the eyes of our assistants. I think he's going to do the business for us this year. At right back, perhaps the position with the most competition. We have Mr. Dessa and Grant, who can both play here. Now, Mr. Dessa has improved so much over the summer. I feel like I have to play him. There was a point at which Grant had the edge defensively, and, I wasn't entirely sure who I was going to go with, but Mr. Dessa's improving, everyone. I mean, you can see the green arrows here. The proof's in the pudding. In terms of his all-time development, I mean, look how much he's improved since we picked him up way back when. As I mentioned, one of a number of homegrown players at club in the team, which is very, very exciting. In the centre of the midfield, another position that possibly could be of weakness. We have brought in Alex Blesser, who can play there, but at least to start the year, we're going to go with the tried and tested, the duo that I know works, or at least worked last year. It's going to be Andre Dizelle playing the deep line playmaker role. You can see his overall ability, apparently a good player for League Two sides. I don't believe that for a second, But ultimately, as a deep line playmaker, he has proven himself. And you can see just when you highlight the attributes for a deep line playmaker, whilst he might not be the most incredibly well-rounded player, as far as playmakers go for this level, he is more than up to the task. Just to compare him to Alex here, you can see there is definitely a gap in the quality of the two, and Alex perhaps should be starting if you were just going to look at them on paper. But given the way that Andre Dozzell has played in the last 2 seasons, it would feel wrong to drop him. I want to give him a chance, but do know that Alex is sat there waiting for an opportunity. Alongside Dozzell, we're going to go with Collie Sacco, a player who, of course, joined us last year for £500,000. Not a small sum of money in truth. He had a reasonable start to his time at the club. Definitely a second half of the season that was much stronger than the first half. So we'll see if he can live up to that billing. Obviously, there is mighty competition in the centre and mid position. We've still got Diawara who can play there. We've got Needham who could come in as well. But I do like Sacco. I don't know what it is about him, but he feels good to me. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, he got better, as I said. We'll see how he gets on today. Anyway, in the wide attacking midfielder positions, 2 more homegrown club players. We've got Vinko Kosic playing out on the left, of course. This is a position he spent much of last year learning. As far as inverted wingers go, he has improved a hell of a lot. One of his big weaknesses in his game was his stamina, and it was something that I focused on in his younger years. And you can see, over the course of the last 3 years at the club, he's gone from 8 stamina to 12, which is a mighty fine improvement. And for a player who's only 19, I still have hopes that it could improve a little bit more. Definitely his technicals need some improvement, and I guess last year him learning a new position perhaps detracted from his overall ability to improve as a footballer. He's learnt his new position now, he's ready to improve, fingers crossed, touch wood, it's going to be a really big breakout year for him in the Championship. Out on the right, we're going to go with Russell Shuttleworth. Last year was just a surprise package. I don't think there's a better way of describing it than that. 15 assists, 4 goals in 27 league appearances. Really, really surprising. Another homegrown at-club player. Very, very consistent. Fan favourite. He's going to get the nod. If he doesn't perform, we have got players who can take his place. Up top, Dylan Turnbull gets the nod to start the year, ahead of Shvetsov. I was wrestling around with which player I wanted to start alongside Molyneux. If we just compare the two players here, they're really similar in some ways, but really different in others. Now, Turnbull is definitely not as natural a goal scorer. You can see here, slightly worse finishing, slightly worse composure. His off the ball is a little bit better, but Shvetsov's off the ball really isn't that bad either. So expect these two guys to be challenging one another for a spot in the first team. But Dylan, the hometown hero, is going to get the nod. And over the summer, we had something very, very interesting happen. And I think I'm actually going to put it at the start of the episode, so you will have already seen it and known about it. But he came out as gay in game, which is something they added into Football Manager a few years ago. I actually had it happen on a save last year. It's meant to be really, really rare, so I would be curious to know if you guys have had it yourself. But as a result, he's going to hopefully drive some shirt sales. There's a bit more high profileness about him, and I'm very curious to see how he gets on this year. Obviously, it doesn't impact him as a player at all, other than his marketability. So not only is he a fan favourite in my heart, and hopefully a fan favourite for you guys watching, now even in game, in the universe, the fans love him. So I'm very excited to see what he can do. And he was capped for England's under-19 level over the summer. He was second highest goal scorer in the under-19 European Championship, which is huge. Anyway, up top alongside him, as I said, we're going to go with Molyneux. This guy was always going to be down, I think, on the team sheet after his year last year as our starting striker. The real question was who would play alongside him. 22 league goals. Let's see what he can do for us in the Championship. A couple of years ago when he was here, did not do what was required of him for Sheffield Wednesday. So a little bit nervous about that. But I don't know, I think he could be a really, really big player for us. Anyway, on the bench, Vasilij Ignatovic has improved a lot over the summer. Is out with food poisoning. I feel like that's an injury he can be on the bench for, so he's going to be on the bench for us there. Alongside him, we've got Needham, who of course offers great cover both at left back and centre mid. Perhaps the one player who could find himself off the bench if we were to get in a new left back. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but his overall quality probably isn't Championship level in truth. We of course have Diawara and Blesser, who I've already talked about, two players who will definitely be fighting for centre mid positions this year. And then in the final third, some younger players. We've got Alfredo Garrido, who of course joined us last year, the 18-year-old. Had a solid spell last year. When we played him, he got a few goals to his name, which for a player who's only 18 years old is, well, positive as far as I'm concerned. Crazy, crazy pace. Makes him just a scary sub to bring on. I feel like, in the dying moments of games, defences are getting tired. You would not want to see Garrido walking off. So let's see what he can do for us. We've got Shvetsov as well, who has a work permit. Hallelujah. Well, I have no idea what to expect from him, but it's been a long time in the waiting. He is homegrown at club, despite never playing for us. I'm pretty sure he's homegrown at club. Is there a way I can see if he's home? I want to check now because I don't want to be wrong here, but I'm 99.9% sure he's homegrown at club. Okay, apparently he's not, so I'm just telling lies, folks. But either way, he's here, I'm excited, and the other player on the bench is going to be Michael Roof, who, of course, last year was a bit of a breakout sensation with Turnbull's development, and Shvetsov coming in might find his minutes limited, but as far as impact subs go, he's a very, very, desired player to have, a player who definitely has goals in his locker. If we need them, hopefully he can turn up and deliver them today. Anyway, I appreciate that was quite a long little roundup of the starting 11, but this is what I consider to be our best team going into this year. And, well, we've not really signed too many new first-team players. When you look through this team, in fact, there's no new names on the sheet, which might seem bold, it might seem stupid. I just have faith, I guess, that we can do what's expected of us. If you were wondering, obviously, board expectation is mid-table finish. Media see us finishing 17th. I'm okay with that. We have got some transfer money to spend. But, of course, we've only, I think, £3.5 million in the bank. I don't really want to go and spend £4 million on players because that would immediately put us in debt. It's one of those weird football manager things where we were set a budget and then loads of the bank balance was spent on facilities and our transfer budgets were never updated to reflect all that money that was spent. I mean, 10 million of it spent over the summer off the pitch was always going to limit, I guess, how much we could do on it. But anyway, feel free to let me know in the comments what you think we can achieve with the team this year. I would love to try and push for the playoffs. Leicester, who reached the playoff final last year but sadly lost, we of course beat in the FA Cup last year. So we've proven we can beat championship teams. But of course this year starts with what should be a straightforward fixture, and I'm probably now going to lose it because I've disrespected Oxford United, but they are newly promoted, a surprise promotion. We need to be beating them convincingly, and well, let's see what we can do here. Dazelle to Turnbull, whips it in. Molyneux thought it was going to fall to him, but it's cleared away. Only as far as Andre, though. Puts it wide to Mr. Desu, who's fought his way into the first team. Blocked. Sacco. Kosic could cut in on his right foot. It's blocked away. I mean, I thought for a second we had a chance, but now they're the team on the counter. Fogden bringing it forward. Now with Senior. We're pressing high, trying to force a turnover in possession, but to be fair, Oxford moving the ball around really nicely here. They end up going long and we win the header, but it's not fully dealt with. And now Dickinson on this left-hand side. Hugo goes to closing down, doesn't stop it. We need to be alert here. Smolyo tips it over the crossbar and out the stadium. The ball has been returned very quickly. I have to credit the ball boy there who's leaped over the brick wall. There is now a corner, though, for us to deal with. Cowell, his shot is blocked. Oxford United have come out to play here, haven't they? Man, I was thinking, get an early goal, relax. But they are not making it easier for us so far. And whilst I'm expecting this to be the pointless highlight when nothing happens, the fact it's not ended has me worried. Ray's little cheeky chip. I don't think he's going to get a booking for that. He's got away with it. He's got a little cheeky smile, Race. He's that naughty schoolboy of a player. The one that referees they don't really want to book. He gives them a little smile, a little cheeky grin, and they kind of just let him off. I'm trying to now think of a player who resembles that. I feel like Moreno was always good at that for Liverpool. Maybe not the whole defending thing, but in terms of, committing a foul that he should probably get booked for and getting away with it. That's what Ray's game is. Anyway, we're working the ball out at the back here. We want to, stick to our game. This is something that we've consistently done through the leagues. Now with Hugo, who switches it over to Shuttleworth, plays it forward to Molyneux, through on goal, should score this, does score this. Well, that is the kind of finishing that is going to see us have a very good season. Jamesy Molyneux with it, Shuttleworth with the assist. And Shuttleworth, he's setting the standards high here. Of course, got a load of assists last year. The question was, could he do it in the Championship? I guess a similar question was going to be asked of Molyneux. Now, whilst this isn't exactly super high Championship quality opposition today, we're playing the team predicted to finish bottom. All I'm going to say is it's an assist and a goal. They've got their account opened early for the year. It's a monkey off their back. Anyway, we're going to try and build from the back again. Hugo forward to Turnbull. Why is the game so laggy? Please stop this. Molyneux to Kosic out on the left. I might have to go 2D, folks. Kosic whips it in. What are we doing, PC? What are we doing? Let's close Google Chrome. Just like all good football managers. Shuttleworth! Oh, he's got to hit the target there. I think that may have hit the outside of the post. Well, I'll tell you what, we definitely got our head into the game, because for the first 20 minutes we were pretty poor, and as that game went on, we suddenly looked more and more likely to score, which I suppose is good, but with a 1-goal lead, it's a dangerous lead. Reyes is on a booking. Do I want to take him off to be safe? I could bring in Needham. Turnbull's not had a very good game. You know what? It's Shvetsov's time to shine. We've waited for this moment for 5 seasons, everyone. We've dreamed of the day that Shvetsov would get a work permit. He's got it here and now, and nothing's happened since he's come on, which is always good. I'm going to take off Kostic. I'm going to move Shuttleworth out into the left, and then I'm going to bring in Garrido. And you know what? I'm going to bring in Blesser for Sacco. Blesser, not your typical box-to-box midfielder. In fact, he's not particularly good defensively, but he's definitely capable of picking out a pass. And in terms of fitting into our system where, you know, technical ability in terms of first touch and passing is important, he shines there. Anyway, I've made all these changes. Nothing is happening. So for all the rambling we did early on, this game could just conclude very, very quickly. There is a minute left. There is another chance playing out. What could happen? Reyes here, whips it in, headed away by Senior. We want to see Shvetsov score on his debut. That's what we want to see. There he is. Plays it to Garrido. Oh my God, Alfredo Garrido. The two subs link up. I'm going to claim it's some genius, but let's be honest, that is a moment of magic from Garrido. The comments said, don't buy Garrido, Jack. He's not good enough. You don't need Garrido. You know what? Maybe I didn't need Garrido, but Garrido needed us to unleash that. What an effort that is. The keeper gets a hand to it, but he's not going to deny him. Shvetsov with an assist on his debut. Not quite the goal he might have dreamed of, but we'll take it. And a 2-0 away win. You know what? That's pretty solid. It was a convincing performance. They didn't have a great deal of chances against us. And if we don't concede, we don't lose. I have also just remembered that the Championship transfer window closes at a different time to League 1 and League 2, because it follows the Premier League, which has now changed in real life. If you don't know, the Premier League and the Championship change when they close the window to be at the start of the Premier League season. They have now cancelled that in real life. Football Manager hasn't updated that, at least at the time that I started the save game. So whilst I was sat thinking, I've got a month to find a left back, I now actually have 4 days. So that's good to know. Well, at least we've realised now, I suppose. We'll have to hope that's not a problem. I might have a desperate kind of panicked look for a left back, but you know what? Andre Dazelle put in a top performance. Ray's only got 1 booking. As long as he doesn't get sent off, I suppose it's good. And we have still got Jimmy Norris, who could come and play left back if we really need him to. Apparently he's a League 2 quality player, but he is third choice left back for us this year, which is a little bit concerning perhaps. But no, a good start to the year. Not a crazy amount of transfer business going on, but I don't necessarily think that is a bad thing. I think that's just a sign of where we're at with this team. You know, I don't have loads and loads of bank balance to spend. I could look to dip into the loan market, but I feel like that would only be at the detriment of some of our younger players, both in the starting 11 and who are backups who we need to bed in. And I would much rather just give those players the opportunities. But yeah, let me know what you make of this start of season. Do you agree with my approach? Would you have gone out and got some loans? Is there any positions that I've not talked about sorting that you would be considering? Please do let me know. I would love to know your thoughts. But yes, that's going to be all from me today, guys. Thank you for watching. The Championship is upon us. I feel like this is where we might start to get pounded. I hope you're looking forward to a season of that. And well, hopefully that won't be the case tomorrow, but it probably will be. I don't know what game we're going to be back for. It's a surprise, and hopefully you're there to see it. Right, I'm done. It's me, Jack. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. And yeah, I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.